Hello and welcome to this edition of Intelligent Video Today. I'm your host, Steve Onderhaar from Intelligent Research. Joining me this time on the show, Mike Rich from Meridian Insights. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Steve, great to be with you.
Now, you're principal consultant over there at Meridian Insights after a long career at a range of enterprise video companies, including Panopto, and you're principal consultant there now at Meridian. Tell me, what does Meridian do, and what is your role there?
Yeah, well, I'll back up a little bit. I was 5 years at Panopto, as you said, running partnerships there. And when I left, everybody started asking me, well, how do we keep working with you outside of the context of Panopto? So I started this consultancy and worked with folks on partner strategy, partner implementation, planning, selection process, negotiation, all those things. And then ultimately the go-to-market strategy for either a partnership or the broader business. So I work with a lot of startups and mid-stage companies who are trying to sort that out and need fractional resources in a crazy budget time.
Yeah, and this is a crazy time in terms of partnering and figuring out how companies are going to work together, primarily because of artificial intelligence and some of the changes it's bringing to bear in how organizations develop applications and other software to address consumer needs. What are some of the considerations that companies and vendors in this space should keep in mind as they step up their approach to partnering in the AI video age?
Absolutely. I mean, I think so many companies out there tend to focus inwardly on themselves, and they're trying to close their quarter. They're trying to, get business, and that comes across when they start talking to partners that they're just trying to get their thing done. And whether it's generative AI or AI in general or some other topic, there's really a few key ingredients that help make every partnership successful. And ultimately, understanding what the partner is trying to accomplish and finding a middle ground between what the partner needs to accomplish and what you need to accomplish is really the best path for whatever that partnership may be. I think a couple years ago, I had a partnership with a major video editing company that came to me and said they were thinking of divesting a business. They were deciding to get out of a business, and they wanted to find some home for their customers. And were we that home? And I could have started with a lot of business metrics and a lot of modeling calculations and things like that. And it became apparent to me that one of the things that the CEO was concerned about was that their people were going to be impacted by that divestiture. And so throughout that partnership, we were able to offer interviews for some of those impacted people. We were able to, I think, bring one on board, and that was part of our package to the partner to say, look, if you work with us, we're actually going to help you in this area too. And they said that was one reason why they partnered with us versus other companies. So it's really important to think broader than the exact thing you're trying to accomplish. Maybe you're thinking about AI, or maybe you're wanting to go into a new space, or maybe you're divesting a business because something else isn't working, or whatever else it is. But always keeping your focus on finding that middle ground and what is the partner actually interested about in their business is really fundamental to making sure anything's a success.
Right. So you take that holistic approach, but that holistic approach is not very effective, though, if you're not talking to the right people on the other side of the table, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to make sure, again, starting with the customer and what are they trying to accomplish, you have to understand what is the right workflow for the customer and what are the pieces that you need to actually plug into that workflow. At Panopto, we knew that we needed to integrate with Teams at one point, and we knew that would be a big integration, but our first inclination was coming at it from a selfish perspective of, well, we want Teams recordings to go into Panopto. And as we started talking with Microsoft, we understood that if we did more work to put Panopto inside of Teams, it would actually be more beneficial to the customer and create a better partnership. So we were able to sort of not only understand that Teams was important because it allowed for this bi-directional integration, but that spending the extra time to do a more detailed integration would pay off for our customers. And if it paid off for our customers, obviously it would pay off for ourselves. And that was a very unique partnership. I mean, there's a lot of folks in unified communications, but as Teams has several bi-directional functions that are very very intriguing for a lot of partners.
Now, counterintuitively, in the generative AI video space, partnering in that workflow doesn't necessarily begin with video itself. Where do you think it starts?
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I sort of talk to a lot of folks about in the world of video is to remember that video is cumbersome. And video, when you break down its elements, actually becomes a lot more powerful when you start with the text that is behind the video. And I think Descript is a wonderful example of a company that really turned the industry on its head by starting with text and teaching people that you could actually turn a text editor into a video editor, and all of a sudden you can edit video without knowing anything about video editing. And that's just a phenomenal example of how thinking different and thinking big and starting with the base components that your customer is really trying to accomplish will help you think differently. And Descript has done a lot of great stuff, and now unfortunately it's being fortunately for others, it's being copied by others, and unfortunately for Descript. But there's a lot of things happening in that space as a result of that innovation.
Now, a lot of us are armchair quarterbacks in the enterprise video space, and many of us don't think that a lot of good partnerships are happening right now. We see a case where vendors are failing to click with one another, finding those combinations that really build enhanced stakeholder value. Why do you think that's the case in our industry today?
I think, macroeconomic pressures always weigh on the importance of partnerships in an organization. And it's unfortunate because the people who will win are the ones who are making big bets in this environment. And those are tough calls for a CEO to make. But, just as an example, you have a lot of the gut instinct is we need to focus on sales. We need to focus on closing the quarter. We need to drive more activity, more leads. And it becomes this downward spiral because you're not getting the leads since you don't have the innovative partnership. So I think continuing to invest in that partnership strategy is essential in even during an economic downturn or during tough budget cycles. And the use of fractional resources really helps with that because you can bring very experienced people on board, especially in this climate when a lot of people are starting to do some of the things like what I'm doing, and you can get really top talent for a fraction of the cost of what you might otherwise in a normal economy.
Yeah, and it is important to have some people in those spots because one of the key things is listening to the voice of the customer, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. The voice of the customer and the voice of the partner, as we mentioned earlier. I mean, when Panopto first started working with Zoom, there was a period of time where we wondered should we continue working with Zoom? Like we're doing our own thing, and Zoom's doing their thing. Do we need to even continue this partnership? It's unfathomable to say that today, but there was actually a time when we reflected on that. And as we
Yeah,
talked
yeah.
to customers and as we talked to Zoom, it became apparent that there was a lot of interesting things happening there. And we decided actually to go in the opposite direction. We went from should we deprecate Zoom, the Zoom integration, to let's double down and rebuild it entirely from scratch. And we happened to do that in late 2019, 3 months before the pandemic. And it was a success even before the pandemic. Customers were immediately coming to us and saying, this is exactly what we need. So, listening to customers first and foremost, even in times when your gut instinct is telling you something different, can lead you to alter your outcomes in ways that could be transformative for the business.
Yeah, it turns out that those guys from Zoom had something going on, huh?
A couple of things, yeah.
Yeah. So from here, from this point in the marketplace, in some ways I call it a partnering paradox. It's just organizations need to partner in order to expand the features and capabilities of their solutions, but there still seems to be a reluctance to do so. How do we get the industry to move beyond this? Look in your crystal ball. How are things going to shake out? Are we going to look at a whole spate of product partnering coming down the line, or is it going to take the form of merger and acquisition activity? What do you see it looking like over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think there will be both. I think that the people who aren't able to adapt and the folks who aren't investing in some of those innovative partnerships, for whatever reason, the reason they're not doing that is because there's already an existing tax on their business that they're struggling to deal with. And those struggles may continue. And if those struggles continue, then M&A may be the exit path for those companies. Simultaneously, you have new startups and other companies that are more innovative, that are investing in this role in the world of partnerships, and they will see growth and they'll start unlocking new workflows that customers didn't even know they needed. And Descript is one version of that, and others are now reflecting of that. But I think those companies will be the ones that see the growth, that make it through this hurdle that we're in at the moment, and ultimately it will be great for customers because they'll have more choice. They'll be able to pick the tools that they want that are innovative, and we'll all be working with video better than ever here in the coming years.
Mike Rich, Principal Consultant with Meridian Insights. Thanks so much for stopping by Intelligent Video today and sharing your insight with us.
Always a pleasure, Steve. Thanks.
And thanks to you for joining us for today's edition of Intelligent Video Today. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes where we'll be speaking with thought leaders like Mike about key trends in the intelligent video space. For Intelligent Research, I'm Steve Underhar. Thanks for your time.